The book that we are working from is a 16th century print in which all the voices are printed separately. So it takes some time and some ingenuity to put them all back together again. The whole book is 23 pieces long, and some of these pieces in themselves are symphonic in their proportions, and others are tiny little jewels, but all of them seem to fit really nicely into the context of 16th century nuns making music. One of the things that's fascinating about the book is that it is entirely anonymous, and for polyphony of such high quality, this is really extraordinarily complex music, but we have no idea from the print who the composer might be. In the 1540s, when the freely imitative motet was still a big deal, this was quite a technical achievement for composers to write in 4 parts, just 4 parts, to write a freely imitative piece of work that didn't have some kind of structure to it, like a cantus firmus or based on a chant. And this book is not just 4 voices, it's 5 voices, and it's 5 equal voices. So the technical achievement of the music in this book is really quite remarkable, and yet the composer and the printer conspired to keep the composer's name invisible. So my very, very strong hunch, based on academic work that may or may not be of interest, is that the composer of these works is a nun who was a princess. Her name was Leonora d'Este, and she was the daughter of Lucrezia Borgia and Duke Alfonso I of Ferrara. Now, she was only 4 years old when her mother died, and she was raised in the convent because there was no older woman at the court who could raise her. And she decided at age 8 that she wanted to enter the convent for good. This didn't make her father happy, but it made her very happy, and it allowed her to pursue her passion, her family's passion, which was for music. She was a keyboard player, and her father, her uncle, her brothers, her nephews supported her in her music, paying for keyboard instruments, paying for decorations for organs, paying for the upkeep of those instruments in ingenious ways, because she was not exactly allowed to own anything as she was a nun. So the music in this book bears a relation to music from the court of Ferrara at the time, and she was a Clarissan nun. A lot of the texts and the feasts that are featured in the book would have been particularly special to her. And we know that she was admired by some of the greatest musicians of her day. She inspired Joseph Ozzolino, the great theorist, to write an entire treatise. So she was an important figure, and it makes complete sense that she would be capable of writing music of this quality. It also makes complete sense that she would want to disguise her identity, or at least not put her name on a publication, because she was noble, she was a woman, she was a nun, and 3 strikes and you're out. None of those things would make her suitable to be a published composer. There does seem to be a genuine composer's voice that comes out of the motets, and that's something that has come through even more strongly as we've been intensely concentrating on these works this week. One of the motets very clearly sounds like all the bells going off on Easter morning, and the clashes that occur when you're standing in the middle of a city and all the church's bells are all going off at once, and then suddenly it resolves into a glorious peal and glorious consonance. The composer clearly wanted to create some very specific effects. challenges of working with female voices, all female voices, is that because all the lines are more or less in the same range, you might think that they would all just kind of blur together. Now, that does happen on occasion, but it seems that the composer does this on purpose, that a melody emerges from the different voices that are kind of weaving around a particular pitch. You hear a melody emerging from the motet that you never see on the page. One of the other delights and surprises that I found working with this music is that it is actually quite easy, on the other hand, to follow every line, because if you're singing with mixed voices or in an open scoring where you have a soprano, alto, tenor, maybe two tenors and a bass, it's very simple to follow each one of those lines, because not only are the voices, the voice quality is different, the voice ranges are different. They're very distinct, and a soprano sounds different from an alto, sounds different from a tenor, sounds different from a bass. Now, in this music, we have sometimes 2 altos and 3 sopranos, or 4 sopranos and 1 alto, or 5 sopranos. And what it's allowed the singers to do is explore the qualities of their own voices very much more. When you sing, we're used to singing polyphony, 2 per part, trying to achieve a blend. And when you have 4 or 5 disparate voices in disparate pitches, that blend is incredibly important and sometimes very difficult to achieve. Here, what we really wanted to encourage our singers to do is to find their own vocal quality that they then could move in and out of and achieve blends for final chords, or at places where a blend would be important. But it was just as important for each singer to really use the individual qualities of their voices. The musicians in this recording have been 2 groups: Musica Secreta, which is our professional ensemble of 10 female singers and a keyboard player and a viol player, and also our amateur choir Celestial Sirens, who have collaborated with us on a number of recording and performance projects. It's a remarkable group of women, aged from 18 to mid-60s. It's very much actually like a convent choir, where women would have spent their lives singing. So they arrive in the choir as young novices, and they stay there until their death. So it's a wonderful blend of bright, youthful and mature voices, a blend of more skilled voices from the professional ensemble, and the enthusiastic and fresh quality of very good amateur voices.